He stopped at a street market on a rainy Tuesday evening and bought pasta from a woman whose smile made time stop. He had no idea she was the daughter of the man he'd destroyed 15 years ago. He had no idea she'd spent 2 years engineering this exact moment. And he definitely had no idea that falling in love with her would force him to choose between the empire he'd built and the redemption he desperately needed. If you've ever wondered whether people can truly change, whether love can heal old wounds, keep watching and hit that subscribe button, because what happens next will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about revenge, forgiveness, and second chances. The rain fell hard that October evening, turning the downtown street market into a maze of umbrellas and neon reflections. Steam rose from Emma's pasta pots as her practiced hands tossed another perfect plate of fettuccine. 28 years old, simple apron over faded jeans, she looked like just another struggling vendor fighting to survive. But appearances deceive. She'd been waiting for this moment for 2 years. 2 years of planning, positioning, preparing. 2 years since she'd tracked Alexander Sterling's routines and discovered he drove through this market every Tuesday when traffic forced a detour. 2 years since she'd set up this stall in this exact location, perfecting her craft, becoming invisible while remaining unforgettable. The black Mercedes stopped in the market traffic. Through the rain-streaked window, Emma saw him. Alexander Sterling, sharp jaw set in irritation, designer suit worth more than she made in 6 months, cold blue eyes scanning the chaos with barely concealed contempt. Her heart hammered. After all this time, after all this planning, the car door opened. Alexander stepped into the rain, and the aroma of her cooking caught him mid-stride. His eyes found hers across the steaming pasta pots, and for one terrible, beautiful moment, the connection was electric. Real. Undeniable. Then Emma remembered who he was. What he'd done. Her smile flickered, just for a second, but she caught it, forced it back into place. Warm. Inviting. Innocent. "You're getting soaked," she said softly. "Come, stand under the awning." Alexander looked at her like he'd never been offered simple kindness before. "Thank you." He glanced at the fresh pasta steaming on plates. "What do you recommend?" Emma's hands didn't shake as she plated a perfect serving with her tongs. "For you? Something special, something you'll never forget." She had no idea how true those words would become. The small apartment was dark when Emma returned home that night. She locked the door and let the mask fall away. Her hands trembled. Her legs felt weak. She'd actually done it, actually looked Alexander Sterling in the eyes and smiled, like she didn't want to destroy him. The wall told her story. Newspaper clippings covered every inch. Magazine covers featuring Alexander's perfect smile, self-made billionaire. Tech sector titan, the man who rewrote business. At the center was a different photograph. 15 years old, edges worn from touching. A family portrait. Emma at 18, her brother Daniel at 12, and their father, Robert Hartley, with his arm around them both. His smile was genuine, his eyes kind. He'd been a good man. A dead man. The memories crashed over her. Coming home from college at 18, excited to surprise her father. The house too quiet. The study door open. Her father's body. The empty pill bottles. The bankruptcy notices. The suicide note in his careful handwriting. "I'm sorry. I couldn't protect you. Forgive me." But it wasn't his fault. It was Alexander Sterling's. Robert Hartley had been a successful entrepreneur, a mentor to ambitious young businessmen. One of them had been Alexander. Hungry, brilliant, desperate. Robert had taken him under his wing, taught him everything, treated him like a son. Alexander had repaid that kindness with betrayal. 15 years ago, Robert's company had been securing a major government contract. Someone leaked their technology. Someone sabotaged their presentation. Someone spread rumors about Robert's financial instability. That someone was Alexander Sterling. He'd stolen the contract, used Robert's innovations to build Sterling Global Industries, and left his mentor bankrupt and broken. Within 6 months, Robert Hartley was dead. Within a year, Alexander Sterling was a millionaire. The world saw a self-made success story. Emma saw a murderer who'd never faced justice. "You saw him," her brother Daniel said, walking in. At 22, he still looked haunted. Their father's death had hit him hardest. He'd been 12 when he found the note. "Did he recognize you? How could he?" Emma's voice came out harder than intended. He never bothered to learn his victims' names. Daniel looked at the wall of clippings. "Sometimes I wonder if Dad would want this." "Dad's not here to want anything," Emma said. Then softer, "That's the point." They sat in silence. Finally, Daniel spoke. "Sterling Global is holding a charity gala next week. Business Rehabilitation Foundation. Emma's head snapped up. What kind of foundation? Helping entrepreneurs recover from bankruptcy. The irony made her blood boil. Alexander Sterling hosting charity for the very people he destroyed. It's perfect, Emma said. The perfect opportunity. 3 days later, Alexander came back to her stall. No suit this time. Just jeans and a sweater. No driver. No phone. Just him looking almost normal. I was hoping you'd still be here, he said. Over the following weeks, Emma executed her plan with precision. The charity gala, where she appeared in a borrowed gown. The way Victoria Lang, Alexander's cold ex-fiancée, tried to intimidate her. The moment Alexander asked Emma to dance and she felt his hand on her waist, warm through the silk of her dress. I grew up poor, Alexander told her as they waltzed. Everything I have, I built from nothing. But people who were born into wealth, they can always tell I don't really belong. Emma's hatred wavered. This wasn't the villain she'd imagined. And you forgot where you came from? Alexander's steps faltered. No, I remember everything. Every person. Every choice. Every consequence. There was real pain in his voice, real guilt. Their first real date was at a modest rooftop restaurant. Alexander opened up about his past. There was a man. My mentor. His name was Robert Hartley. Emma's breath stopped. He took me in when I was nobody. Taught me everything. He was like a father to me. Alexander's voice cracked. And I betrayed him. I stole his technology, sabotaged his deals, destroyed his company to build mine. He lost everything because of me. And then, he couldn't finish. He killed himself, Emma said, her voice hollow. Alexander's head snapped up. How did you? Because my father did the same thing, Emma interrupted quickly, staying in character. Different circumstances, maybe. But the same ending. It was close enough to the truth that Alexander nodded, believing she understood without knowing the whole story. I've searched for his family for 15 years, Alexander said. A daughter and a son. I wanted to help them, to make things right, but they vanished. And I think maybe that's what I deserve. To never have the chance to apologize. Emma felt tears burning. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. He was supposed to be unrepentant, cruel, a monster. But he wasn't. He was a broken man consumed by guilt, desperately trying to atone for sins he couldn't undo. Weeks passed. Emma got closer to Alexander, closer to destroying him, but she also fell in love with him. The real him. The man who visited her father's grave monthly. The man who funded suicide prevention programs anonymously. The man who couldn't sleep at night because guilt wouldn't let him rest. Then Victoria Lang discovered the truth. I know who you are, Victoria said at an elegant cafe, sliding evidence across the table. Photos of Emma, her real background, her connection to Robert Hartley. You're planning revenge. I want to help. Victoria wanted Alexander's $3 billion merger to fail so her company could succeed. She needed inside information, files, emails, things only someone Alexander trusted could access. You have 48 hours, Victoria said. Give me what I need, or I tell Alexander everything. Oh, and your brother. Such a dangerous neighborhood where he volunteers. Anything could happen. The threat was clear. Emma was trapped. That night, at Alexander's penthouse, he cooked dinner for her. Opened up completely. I'm falling in love with you, he said. I look at you and see a chance to be someone better. Then his phone rang, a business emergency. Stay here, he said before leaving. Please. We'll finish this conversation when I get back. Alone in his apartment, Emma faced the choice. His computer was right there. The password written on a sticky note. She could access everything Victoria wanted. Her phone buzzed. Daniel, Victoria's people are watching me. I'm scared. Please, just give her what she wants. Emma downloaded the files with tears streaming down her face. Then she found Alexander's drawer. Inside were therapy notes from 15 years of treatment. Documentation of his guilt, his nightmares, his desperate search for her and Daniel, and a letter. Dear Emma and Daniel Hartley, if you're ever found, I'm sorry. I'm so deeply, terribly sorry. Dated 14 years ago. Updated annually. Emma clutched the letter and finally understood. Alexander Sterling wasn't a villain. He was a broken man who'd been punishing himself for 15 years, desperately seeking forgiveness from people he couldn't find. And she, his victim's daughter, had fallen in love with him. The next morning, Emma went to her father's grave. Dawn was breaking when she heard footsteps. She looked up to find Alexander Sterling carrying roses. He froze when he saw her. For a long moment, they stared at each other across Robert Hartley's grave. Emma, Alexander said, his voice hollow with realization. Your father. His name was Robert Hartley, Emma finished. My name is Emma Hartley. And you destroyed him? Alexander stumbled backward, his face draining of color. How long have you known who I was? From the beginning. Every moment. Every conversation. Every kiss. Emma watched his face crumple. I set up that food stall because I knew your route. I engineered our meeting. I've been planning this for 2 years. The revenge plot. His voice was barely audible. Of course, I deserve it. Yes, Emma agreed. Then softer. But it won't bring him back. She told him everything. About Victoria's blackmail. About the files she'd stolen. About the choice she'd been agonizing over. Then she pulled out the USB drive and threw it away. What are you doing? Alexander was on his feet, confused. Choosing. Emma turned back to him, tears streaming. My father's last words were, don't let bitterness poison you. I didn't understand. But I do now. Destroying you won't bring him back. It'll just perpetuate the cycle of pain. So what happens now? Now I think you need to protect yourself. Victoria knows who I am. She'll try to use it against you at the board meeting tomorrow. They stood in the cemetery with her father's grave between them like a physical representation of everything that separated them. I need to know, Alexander said. Was any of it real? It started as a lie, Emma admitted. But somewhere along the way, it became the most honest thing in my life. I hate that I love you. I hate that you make me want to forgive you. But you do love me. Yes. God help me, yes. The Sterling Global boardroom was packed. Alexander was presenting the Tecton merger when Victoria interrupted. The board deserves to know some context, Victoria announced, pulling out Emma's file. Alexander has been in a relationship with Emma Hartley, daughter of Robert Hartley, the same man Alexander destroyed 15 years ago. She engineered their meeting. She's been planning revenge for 2 years. The room erupted. Emma stood. It's true. Everything Victoria said is true. I blamed Alexander Sterling for my father's death, and I planned revenge. Victoria's smile was triumphant. But, Emma continued, Victoria isn't telling you everything. She's not exposing me out of concern for Sterling Global. She's doing it because she wanted me to steal confidential files about the Tecton merger. Emma displayed Victoria's threatening texts on the screen. She blackmailed me. She threatened my brother. She demanded I access Alexander's computer and steal information that would sabotage this merger. She pulled out a recording device. This is Victoria Lang blackmailing me and detailing her entire scheme. As security escorted Victoria out, Emma looked at the board. I'm guilty of deception, of planning revenge, but I won't let her destroy Sterling Global with lies and blackmail. She pulled out the letter Alexander had written. He wrote this 14 years ago, searching for my brother and me. He's been trying to make amends for longer than I've been angry. Emma turned toward the door. I don't know if what we had was real or just a beautiful lie, but I know you're not the villain I wanted you to be. Emma, where are you going? Away. To figure out who I am when I'm not consumed by anger. And us. I don't know if there can be an us. Maybe some wounds are too deep. Or maybe, her voice broke, maybe forgiveness is the only thing that can set either of us free. She left before anyone could respond, walking out with her head high and her heart shattered. 2 weeks passed in silence. Emma didn't hear from Alexander. The news had a field day with their story. Victoria Lang was facing criminal charges, and Emma focused on what mattered. Daniel, who was finally getting therapy funded by the trust Alexander had set up years ago. He really was trying to find us, Daniel said one evening. All this time. I know. Do you love him? Yes, Emma admitted. But love doesn't fix everything. It doesn't undo the past. No, Daniel agreed. But maybe it's how we begin to heal. Then the news broke. Alexander Sterling steps down as CEO of Sterling Global Industries. Emma read the article with trembling hands. He'd given up everything. His company. His position. His identity. The statement said he was focusing on personally working to help entrepreneurs recover from bankruptcy. 4 days later, Emma returned to her market stall. She was tossing fresh pasta when conversations suddenly stopped. People stared. Alexander Sterling stood at her stall in jeans and a sweater, holding a single white rose. He looked different. Tired, but lighter, like a weight had been removed. Hi, he said. What are you doing here, Alexander? I stepped down, handed the company to the board. I've been volunteering at business rehabilitation centers, helping people rebuild. He smiled sadly. Turns out I'm good at it. That's good. I'm glad. Emma, I'm not asking for forgiveness because I want to feel better. I'm asking because I love you. Because when I'm with you, I'm not the man who destroyed Robert Hartley. I'm just me, and I like who I am with you. You hurt my family. You destroyed my father. I know. I'm not asking you to forget. I'm asking if you can forgive. Not for me, for you. He told her that Daniel had called him, told him to fight for her. He said, your father used to tell you both that everyone deserves a second chance. You don't deserve me, Emma said, but there was no heat in it. I know. But maybe deserving isn't the point. Maybe the point is choosing each other anyway. Choosing to build something new from the ruins. Emma looked at his hand hovering near hers. She thought about who she wanted to be. Her father's daughter, yes, but also someone who could choose forgiveness without forgetting. I have conditions, Emma said. Anything. We visit my father's grave together, not to apologize. You've done that enough. But to remember him, to honor who he was. Yes, you continue helping people rebuild. You turn your guilt into something productive. Already doing that. And we're honest. Completely honest. No more secrets. If this is going to work, it has to be built on truth. I can do that. They stood in the market, hands touching across the counter. This doesn't mean I forgive you, Emma said softly. Not yet. Maybe not for a long time. But it means I'm willing to try. That's all I'm asking for. A chance. Emma picked up the white rose. What does white mean? New beginnings. The possibility of something pure growing from impure soil. She cupped his face in her hands. I'm scared. Terrified that I'm making a mistake. I'm scared too. But I think your father would understand. I think he was the kind of man who believed in second chances. He was. Emma pulled him closer and kissed him. Not with passion, but with promise. The Morrison Memorial Foundation opened on a Saturday morning, exactly 15 years after Robert Hartley's death. The building was beautiful, modern and welcoming, offering business counseling, mental health support, and financial planning for entrepreneurs who'd lost everything. Emma and Alexander had worked side by side for 6 months to create it, funded by his personal fortune and managed by a board that included both of them and Daniel. At the center of the main hall was a photograph of Robert Hartley, not the broken man who died, but the vibrant entrepreneur who'd built things and believed in people. Your father would have loved this, Mrs. Chen from the market said, squeezing Emma's hand. I hope so, Emma whispered. Emma spoke at the ceremony, her voice steady. 15 years ago, my father died. For a long time, I let that death define me. I planned revenge, convinced that justice meant destruction. But I learned something. Revenge doesn't heal. It just creates more pain. She looked at Alexander beside her. This foundation isn't about revenge. It's about redemption, about taking the worst moments of our lives and transforming them into something that helps others. Alexander stepped forward. I destroyed Robert Hartley. I betrayed someone who trusted me. I've spent 15 years trying to make amends, but nothing I do will bring him back. Emma and Daniel Hartley have shown me that redemption isn't about erasing the past. It's about learning from it. Daniel spoke last. My father used to say everyone deserves a second chance. Emma taught me that holding on to hate doesn't honor the people we've lost. It just makes us smaller. My dad would be proud of what Emma has built. Not just this foundation, but the person she's become. After the ceremony, Emma found herself standing alone in front of her father's portrait. Alexander joined her. I talked to a woman today, he said quietly. Her husband's business was destroyed by corporate sabotage. When she learned who I was, she spit at my feet. What did you do? I apologized. Then I introduced her to the counselors who will help her family recover. Not everyone will forgive me. Most won't. And that's okay. Then why do you do it? Because it's right. And because you taught me that healing isn't about being forgiven. It's about choosing to be better every day. Emma squeezed his hand. Over the past 6 months, they'd rebuilt their relationship on honesty. Some days were harder than others. But more and more, she saw not the man who destroyed her father, but the man who was genuinely trying to be better. I love you, Emma said. The first time without reservation. Alexander's breath caught. Yeah? Yeah. Not because you've earned it, but because love isn't about deserving. It's about choosing. Emma's new restaurant, Morrison's Kitchen, opened in the same neighborhood where she'd run her street stall. Elegant but accessible, every dish crafted with care. Alexander was there on opening night, sitting at his usual corner table. He didn't own the restaurant, didn't invest in it. He was just a loyal customer. Emma had built this herself, You know you don't have to come here every night, Emma said, sliding into the seat across from him. Your food is the best in the city. Why would I eat anywhere else? Bias has nothing to do with it, I'm sure. Alexander laughed. Over the past year, they'd continued working together at the foundation, visited her father's grave monthly, and slowly built a life based on honesty rather than deception. They didn't live together yet. Emma wasn't ready, but they saw each other almost every day. I was thinking about what comes next, Alexander said, looking nervous. For us. What does that look like to you? Maybe moving in together, combining our lives in a real way. Maybe talking about a future where we're not defined by your father's death but by what we built from it. Emma thought about the question she'd been avoiding, about whether there could truly be a future with the man who'd destroyed her father. My father used to tell me that holding on to anger was like drinking poison, Emma said slowly. I spent 10 years proving him right. But now I'm choosing something different, not forgetting, but not letting it define me either. And you think I've done the work? I think you're doing the work. Every day. And I think I'm ready to start building a real future with you. Alexander's smile was brilliant. Yeah? Yeah. But there will be hard days. Days where the grief comes back and makes me question everything. I know. I can be patient. For as long as it takes. Emma looked around her restaurant, at Daniel thriving, at customers enjoying her food, at the life she'd built from ruins. Then she looked at Alexander. You know what my father's favorite saying was? The best revenge is living well. I spent so long planning the wrong kind of revenge. But this, she gestured at the restaurant, at their joined hands, at the future. This is the right kind. Building something beautiful from something broken. Your father sounds like he was a wise man. He was, and I think he'd be proud of who I'm becoming. Not because I'm forgetting what happened, but because I'm choosing to honor his memory by living the values he taught me. Alexander pulled her into his arms, and Emma let herself be held. They stood together in Morrison's kitchen, surrounded by life and laughter and second chances. Emma thought about the girl she'd been at 18, broken by loss, consumed by anger, planning destruction, and the woman she'd become, scarred but strong, capable of both justice and mercy. Forgiveness hadn't come easily. It had been hard-won, fought for, earned through tears and therapy and countless conversations. But it had come. Not because Alexander deserved it, but because Emma deserved to be free of her anger, because she deserved a future not defined by her past. Come on, Emma said, pulling Alexander toward the kitchen. I want to show you the new dessert menu. Does it still taste like revenge? Alexander asked with a slight smile. Emma thought about the journey that had brought them here. No, now it tastes like possibility. Like hope, like a future we're building together. That's my favorite flavor, Alexander said. Emma laughed and led him into the kitchen where Daniel was already taste testing with his girlfriend. Mrs. Chen sat at the counter, offering unsolicited advice. The staff moved around them, creating something beautiful from simple ingredients. It was chaotic, imperfect, real, and as Emma picked up a spoon to share her creation with the people she loved, she thought about her father one more time. I hope I'm making you proud, Dad, she whispered. Some scars never fully heal, but they can become part of a beautiful, complicated story. One where pain transforms into purpose, where mistakes lead to growth, where even the worst betrayals can eventually give way to forgiveness. Not because forgiveness is easy, but because it's the only way forward. They say revenge is a dish best served cold, but Emma Hartley learned something through her journey, something her father tried to teach her all along. The best revenge isn't destruction. It's not making your enemy suffer. It's becoming someone your enemy's victim could forgive. It's building something beautiful from the ruins. It's choosing to break the cycle. Alexander Sterling destroyed her family. That truth will never change. But he spent 15 years trying to become someone better. And Emma spent the last year learning that holding on to hate only destroys the person holding it. Some wounds never fully close. Some scars remain forever. But they can become reminders, not of what broke us, but of what we survived. What we built. What we became. This is Emma's revenge. Not destroying the man who hurt her, but proving that love is stronger than hate. That forgiveness is braver than vengeance. That sometimes the most radical thing you can do is choose healing over hurt. Her name is Emma Hartley. Her father was Robert Hartley, and this is her story. Of revenge that became redemption, of hate that transformed into love, of wounds that healed into wisdom. If you believe people can change, if you believe in second chances, if you believe love can heal even the deepest wounds, hit that subscribe button. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, sometimes the best thing that never happens is exactly what needs to not happen, so something better can find you instead.